Each morning I do a live stream called Morning Coffee with Mitch. Any of you come every morning. Great community. Great community. I thought maybe you'd be interested in seeing what I go through every morning before those inevitable words, drink it if you got it. I enjoy it. But I'm going to take you along as I go through the same ritual I think I've got down pat by now, and that is basically building a studio outside on my screen porch, doing my live stream every morning, and then taking it apart. I've got most of the equipment packed in a small laptop case. Then there's the mic boom, the camera, and the headphones, which I have to go back in and get. Set up this small table outside. And then I have to put all the equipment together. Excuse me while I go get my headphones. And here I come, headphones in hand. And now, time to unpack all this stuff. I'm doing this video because many of you have expressed interest in how I do it. A lot of you aren't technical and could care less. But there's an entire community of YouTubers out there that are interested in this kind of stuff. And maybe this video will reach some of them as well. In the meantime, I've got to assemble this thing, get it online, get it working, test everything, and make sure, as much as I love it, that it goes off without a hitch. That's the camera that I use. I use the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, a gimbaled camera with tremendous quality, and I use that as a webcam for the broadcast. And I use StreamYard software for my live streams. First thing I need to do is unpack all the little gizmos. That's a cell phone that I use to provide the music. That next thing is a mixer. This is an adapter for the notebook, allows me to plug a bunch of other stuff into it. A power adapter to power the whole mess. And down at the bottom, my Samsung Galaxy Book 2. A fairly powerful notebook, very thin. And I use it out here to run the whole show. Put away the laptop bag until I'm done. I go down and I plug that power strip in so that I've got power at my studio table. Try to make some organized chaos out of all the little pieces and start to set up the equipment. I have a little wood stand for the notebook to keep it up off the table because this particular notebook tends to overheat when it's working real hard, so that just allows air to circulate underneath it. It's always the little things. Make sure the mouse is turned on. That's the mixer. That's a Zoom H6 portable digital mixer. Had it for years. It's incredible. It can actually make studio quality digital recordings in the field. And it has 6 separate channels, and I use it as a mixer plugged into the computer through its USB port. It allows me to add the music to the stream, to use a studio quality mic with what they call an XLR input. These are things that would interest people that do these kind of things and do these kind of live streams, but it basically gives me pretty much studio quality production sitting out there on my patio, puffing on my cigar. All right, I plug in the USB cable to the webcam. I set up that spare cell phone, get the song loaded in it and playing that I want to use for my live stream, and plug it into the mixer so that I can bring that audio in and out anytime I want, adjust the volume, etc., and try to route the cables neatly so they don't get tangled up in everything, because the first time I did this, it was a real rat's nest. But I've got it down to a science now. So we're almost done. We're almost done setting up the hardware part of this. And then we have to deal with the software. Now, one last thing to hook up. Even though I have wireless networking out on the patio, I want to make sure that I've always got the best possible internet connection, so I installed a hardwired internet connection, a very long piece of Cat5 cable that I can plug right in to this system out there. So I not only am remote, but I'm hardwired right to the internet. So that requires that I unroll this long cable every morning, route it over to my studio in a manner that I won't keep tripping over it. And I've got this kind of figured out and kind of down to a science, and I run it across the floor in front of me along with the electric cord that powers the whole mess. And I haven't tripped over it yet, but I'm cognizant that it's there. So this is the final actual thing I have to hook up and plug in. And you'll notice when I do plug it in, you'll see the lights start blinking. And those blinking lights tell me that I am indeed connected to the internet with a good Ethernet connection, and I'm good to go. So now it's time to start dealing with actually setting up the software, calibrating everything, and getting ready to go live. But then I have one last thing to do, and that was plug in the microphone, which uses what they call an XLR jack. You plug that into the mixer, and that'll finish wiring up the studio. Time to start setting up the computer. So we open it up, log in, make sure the mouse is working. First thing I do generally is check the internet connection. This is the StreamYard software for all my live streams, so I have to open that program. I have to go in and I have to find the actual stream that I want to use. This is about the time I turn on my camera, let the computer discover it, so that I can set up StreamYard to use this DJI camera, which is a very, very high quality. I have to rotate the gimbal to face me. I have to set the zoom on it so it ends up looking like I want it to look. Position it so I'm sitting exactly and framing the scene exactly as I want it. And once I get things the way I want it, then I can go into the StreamYard software and switch it over to that camera and see how it will look on the screen. At that point, I usually do a quick check of my internet activity to make sure that the upload stream from StreamYard is nowhere near overloading my capacity. And that looks pretty good today. Now it's time to open another browser. Actually, put the actual stream itself into another browser, which lets me monitor and see if it's active and how it looks, and more importantly, that it has indeed gone live. And that's what I check. When I first go live, I quick switch over to that other browser and watch for the actual stream to start, usually 7, 8 to 10 seconds later. Once I'm sure I'm actually live, then I can proceed with confidence, knowing that everything's working. It's an important step for me. At this point, I've got the video working, everything looks good. The streaming software is set up. The software for me to monitor the streaming is set up. And the last thing I need to do is make sure that the audio and the mixer and the levels and all that stuff is set right. So I put on my headphones and I adjust the microphone stand, the arm, so that it's positioned properly in front of my mouth to get the best sound that I can get out of this thing. Put the wind muff back on it, and you can hear me in the background. Testing the levels, watching the meters on the mixer, and making sure that I've got as good a quality of sound that it's possible for me to get out here in the noisy environment of this back porch of mine. We'll check out the music, make sure the music's working from that cell phone, and we're almost ready to go. There is one last thing that I needed, usually the final step in setting this up. So we climb out of the catbird seat, head off around the corner to the workshop storage shed, and return with, drum roll please, a light, an important light, a fill light that I have pointing directly at me. And it's the last step of setting this up. Once that light gets plugged in, I am ready to go. And I usually try to get this all done no later than at least 45 minutes beforehand, because if something does happen, I want to be able to have time to troubleshoot it. And there we have it, all set up, and ready to do a morning coffee with Mitch. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned a little something about the behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, detail and work required to throw that thumbnail up on the screen in front of you, so you'll see something we hope is worthwhile when you watch. This is a pop-up studio that happens every morning out here on my screened porch. Take the rest of the day off, my friends, and eat meat.